Lots to do. Mike in Louisiana will begin. Mike, your turn. How are you today, pal? What's going on? You there, Michael? Or did we lose you? We did. All right, Mike in South Carolina. He's with us, and he says hello. Mike, good afternoon. How are you today, pal?
Well, I'm good, Chris. I hope you and the whole entire Russo clan had a Merry Christmas.
We did, Mike, and your Dolphins. Another miserable season. They've been competitive, but I look at the standings and I see right now 6 up and 9 down. Who knows how they're going to handle the Buffalo game? Let me get a little recap from you, the big Dolphin fan. Go ahead.
Well, it's all about the Sooners in less than a week. There's no recap. We stunk this year. The Cutler experiments failed miserably. So I guess we're going to go with Tannehill next year. Who knows what we're going to – we got to get our offensive line. We got a lot of holes. Now, let me
how much blame do you put on Cutler, and how much is beyond his control?
Cutler's not a winner, first of all, but we do have to get our line better. But he's just not a winner. You see great throws from him, but he's just he has no intestinal fortitude, Chris. This guy's never played – he's shown that he's a big-time quarterback. I know you agree with that. He never has. So it's kind of,
it's just something about him that, it gets in the way. I mean, he's a diabetic. I think he plays hard. He takes shots. He never moans and groans.
He's not a leader, though, Chris.
He's just not. There's something missing.
He's not a leader.
Yeah,
and Tannehill's not much of one either. Listen, Chris, I got a point, and I got a question for you. Me and my son were watching the Buffalo-New England game, and here's the thing we were both saying. If they would have called incomplete, you couldn't overturn it. It was so close. You called a touchdown, you can't overturn it. You just can't do that. How can you do that? I told my son, I said, there's no way they'll turn that over. I said, they are in New England, son. And sure enough, they overturned it. I'm not saying, but how can you do that? You can't do it. You go with the touchdown. At least
first off, I thought it was a touchdown on its own because
it was close. It was so close. I agree. But it was so close that if he did bobble a little bit, and by the way, I'm getting tired. If he switches from one hand to another, that's not losing control of the ball. I mean, he had it. It was a great catch. I thought the ref got it right, and what do? They go and mess it up. Now, here's my question to you, Russo.
Yeah,
and I hear are you not surprised with how many of these Cowboy fans just absolutely their love fest for Tony Romo, and they ran a man out of town that played in 2 straight NFL championships to go to the first 2 Super Bowls and lost classic games. Everybody talks about the Ice Bowl. How about the first one, Chris? That was a great game. Dallas was getting ready to score to tie the game up. I mean, Don Meredith, to me, if you're going to give – and I want you to answer this. Who are you going to take as your quarterback? If you had a choice between Don Meredith and Tony Romo, who would Chris Russo take?
Well, again, it's a totally good call, but it's a completely different scenario, different eras. Meredith is the first big quarterback they had. Retired young. I think he was fed up of getting booed all over the building. We're going to see on this show now on the NFL thing on Friday. We'll get a little feel of it. I understand what you're saying. It's probably a little closer than you think. Meredith was there for that 4 or 5 year period. He was very, very good. You can't compare the numbers, so don't do that. You're talking mid-60s NFL football compared to the pass-happy era that we've had here in the 21st century. So don't do that. That's not right. But I understand what you're saying. It's probably closer than you think. Good call by from Mike, whose Oklahoma team plays on Monday, of course, in the Rose Bowl. Here is Tony in Dallas, Mad Dog Unleashed. Tony, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What do you have for me?
Christopher, I got to tell you, Cowboy fans are getting tired of Jerry Jones. A couple years ago, when Jerry would come with his antics and how Jerry would want to run an organization, even when he ran Bill Parcells out of town, most of the fan base was still, like the cult following. It was like, okay, well, whatever Jerry says, he's going to get us a nice little stadium we can go visit and overpay for things, whatever Jerry says. But I got to tell you, Chris, people are getting tired of Jerry. People are getting tired of he always protects Jason Garrett. That was an atrocity on Sunday. 1st and goal from the 2.5-yard line.
Yeah, you got to run the ball. You got to run the ball there.
You battle all season, Chris. You battle the commissioner. You threaten that you're gonna sue him because you're not want to extend his contract. You put on this whole show, and you've got Zeke Elliott on 1st and goal, and you've got him sitting on the bench because they want to run Dak Prescott from the shotgun. Little things like that. Then Jerry Gomes, and right away today he defended Jason Garrett. So basically, he's already clouded for next season. He said, don't worry, Garrett's coming back because I can control him, and I love him like a son. So Garrett's coming back. So what do we have to look
So
forward
what's the
to?
issue? Is the issue you want Garrett out, or is the issue you want Jones out? What do you want as a Cowboy fan?
Well, the issue as a Cowboy fan, Chris, is that we want Jerry to completely exclude himself from being the face of the franchise.
I agree with that.
That's never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
He needs to not be. He needs to be an owner that is just signs a check and you put the camera on him in the booth once in a while. He's always the first one in front of the camera, Chris. He's always the one that does and that killed Parcells. That's why Parcells didn't even want him anywhere near the locker room.
Well, Terrell Owens had a lot to do with Parcells.
But Jerry's the one that likes to do what Marvin Jones does and gives, he drafted Randy Gregory. That's a bust, the kid that couldn't stay away from the pot. He drafts these kids that have great names like Taco Charlton. That's a bust. He can only be on the field maybe on 3rd and long, Chris. That's a bust. His offensive line is not as good as it was last year. Tyron Smith is showing his age. Des Bryant has a humongous contract. He cannot catch the ball, Chris. He's not a number one. But those are decisions that Jerry Jones will not make because he puts himself – he joins himself with these players way too much, and he doesn't want to make the difficult decisions. Bill Belichick would have cut Des Bryant a couple years ago. He would have done something else with the offensive line, and we're gonna regress again. We're gonna be probably 7-9 again next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Jones being so much a fixture in Cowboy land, good call from Tony, is a major problem. Him holding press conferences, him doing radio shows, it just does not serve the franchise well. They were able to overcome that with Jimmy Johnson and all those great draft picks, and the fact they had the number one pick of the draft when Aikman came out, which was a big start. And then, of course, he got Emmett with the trade. So, I mean, you got 2 Hall of Famers there, and then they throw in Irvin as 3, who played for Jimmy at Miami. But it's a distraction. I think Garrett, he can't get around the idea that everybody kind of thinks he's a puppet because, Garrett's one of these guys that is sort of handpicked by Jerry. And if you're the coach of Jerry Jones, for Jerry Jones, it's almost like you feel the fan base thinks that Jerry's calling the shots, not you. That makes it tricky. Listen, it's a mess. The team is, they fought this as Elliott thing. They should have taken out suspension when they had a chance to take it. Just a disaster. Matt in Albany, New York, and he's aboard. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Matthew, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hey, Chris, can you hear me okay?
I sure can, Matt. Merry Christmas. How are you, pal? Okay?
I'm all right. I just want to go on the record that I'm calling you after another disappointing season. So, when you add it all together, okay, when you add David Irving getting suspended, for 6 games and then getting hurt there in the end, when you add Dan Bailey missing 3 games, one of those being a loss after a big missed field goal there against Atlanta, when you add Ezekiel Elliott being suspended 6 games, you're not going to expect. When I called you last week, I was keeping it inside. Like, I was thinking, when I asked you if we're going deep in the playoffs, I was trying to stay positive as a fan, but I knew that, with all that added up, you just can't do that. I mean, it's not baseball where it's like, all right, you're suspended 6 games or whatever. You have 160 games left. Football is 16 games. When you miss a lot of key players like that, you got to change your game plan. And when they come back, you score 12 points when Zeke comes back, and it's just that's what I believe in. It's just I don't blame all of it on Jason Garrett. I can't. I mean, but I will agree with you that we shouldn't have ran it there in the red zone. But
well, you should have, Matt. I mean, but good. Listen, good call, and so noted that you gave us a chat, a conversation after you lost, got knocked out. The Elliott thing was a cloud over the franchise all year. It was sitting there from week 1. They got off to the bad start. Prescott didn't play as well. A combination of things for Dallas. Just not a good season for him. And obviously, a bad conclusion. Levon in Atlanta, Mad Dog Unleashed. Levon, how are you today, pal? Hi, Levon. How are you? What's going on today? Everything okay?
Everything good. How you doing?
All right, Levon. Nice to talk to you. What's on your mind now? Let me hear.
Well, one thing for sure, Jerry Jones is not going anywhere. Dallas is in the same boat as the Los Angeles Raiders were, or Oakland Raiders were back in the day.
Yeah, good point.
So Jerry's not going anywhere. Jason Garrett, we all know, is a puppet, but I think you can still somehow, some way, still win with Jason Garrett. The problem that everybody got to realize is this: Dak Prescott is not our quarterback that can get us to the promised land. He cannot find an open man on offense at all. So anything we can do, if Cleveland Browns are still the mediocrity or the idiot team ownership as they are, Dallas need to trade Dak Prescott to the Cleveland Browns and get their first-round pick.
Levon, that's interesting. I don't think either franchise would make that trade. Maybe Dallas would be more inclined to do it. Good call than the Browns would. Prescott had a big step back this year. I think the Cowboys probably still believe in him. But he showed that, he wasn't able to get this team into the playoffs with a sort of a compromised offensive line and obviously no running game with Elliott when he being out for 6 games, and a little bit of a step back for him. A little bit of I don't know how to read it too much. I don't think the Cowboys, I don't think they're alarmed by his play. I don't necessarily think they're in love with it, but I don't think they're alarmed by it. So he'll be the quarterback next year. Good call for Levon. Here's Tom in Alabama. Mad Dog Unleashed. Tommy, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hello, Mr. Russo. It's an honor to talk to you, sir.
Hello, Tom. What's up now?
I want to ask you a question. Who would be your Mount Rushmore broadcasters?
My Mount Rushmore of broadcasters, you're talking about play-by-play, I would think, more than the analysts.
Yep.
I don't want to go to analysts. Personally, I put Kirk Gowdy there. Good call, Tommy. I would put Gowdy there. I would put Enberg there. I put Al Michaels there. I'm not going to put Costas there because I'm just looking at this from a play-by-play perspective. And Costas is in another level where he's a host. Okay? He's more of an interviewer or a host than he is a play-by-play guy. He's a very good play-by-play guy, but he's more renowned for hosting the Olympics and later and all those things. So he and Tirico, who play that role, I don't put there. Gowdy, Enberg, Michaels, no doubt about it. You got to do multiple sports. Michaels, baseball, football. He was not a good NBA guy, but I need a fourth. Gowdy for sure. Enberg for sure. Summerall. Boy. Howie, you got a fourth for me there? Gowdy, Enberg, and Michaels, Mount Rushmore broadcasters. Give me a... Costas.
Scully.
Yeah.
He did football.
Yeah. I guess you probably have to put Vin there. I look at Vin as a baseball guy right now more than I look at as a versatile broadcaster.
Right.
But I guess you could put Vin there if you wish.
He did a lot of NFL.
He did.
How about, if you really want to go back, I don't know if this guy's on Mount Rushmore, Ray Scott.
Yeah, you probably can't put him on that level. The other guy you could put is Summerall.
Yes. Did tennis, golf, and football.
He did the Masters. He did the golf. He did football. Actually did the NBA for a year. It's a good thought. Scully probably the fourth. Howie's got a sports bite. We're right back to you here on Mad Dog Unleashed.
Mad Dog Sports Radio.